This is the kind of story that I think I should be covering on an alt channel, where I do reviews and gaming news and whatever. But one, despite it being about Overwatch, this does have a healthy dose of social justice in it. And two, I haven't completely set up the alt channel yet. When the Quartering called me lazy on his podcast yesterday, he wasn't wrong. If you've been following me for a while, you've probably picked up on the fact that my girlfriend and I are fans of Overwatch. Rather large fans, to be frank. I like the way the game plays. I like the personality of the characters. I like the competitive scene. And despite how Xbox Livey the voice chat can get, I like the community too. I don't mind shit talking during a competitive game. It's part of the game. Overwatch's competitive scene is judged by SR ranking. The people who have the 500 highest SR scores appear on the in-game leaderboards. Looking at a recent snapshot of the top 10, I see a few familiar names, including pro players like Sinatra and Karif. But this individual here, Ellie, appeared out of nowhere. She's unknown in the scene, she's not a streamer or a pro player, and at this high of a ranking, everybody knows everybody. Even if you don't stream or don't play pro, you're going to be constantly appearing in the games of other top tier streamers, and people who watch are going to get to know who you are a little bit. What made Ellie a unique case isn't that she was a girl, although there aren't as many women in the top 500 as there are men. It was the fact that she was virtually unknown to the community, as if she simply appeared fully formed in the top ranks. Naturally, people were suspicious. And naturally, social justice warriors and game journos on Twitter called this suspicion sexism.
Why did you have to pick her to dox, and why does it have to be a female? Why does it have to be that you can make sexual innuendos? How are you figuring out all of these things? It's just not right.
I'm sure some people were actually sexist, but let's be real here. Anybody coming out of nowhere in the top 500 is unheard of, regardless of gender. Combine that with the fact that Ellie had a relatively attractive sounding voice, and a brand new Twitch and Twitter quickly springing up around her. To the more skeptical people out there, it really seemed like a cash grab. Think of it, an attractive, young, top-level Overwatch player blinks into existence, with a rapidly growing following and quickly opening donation pages. Seems too good to be true. It's not sexism to suspect that something may be off about this situation, and it's not sexism to understand that a good-looking woman on the internet, with skill in her chosen field, represents a gold mine. That's why the most famous cosplayers out there are all women. That's why female porn stars make more than male ones. That's why Twitch Thots and premium snaps are a thing. And obviously, it's fine to use your looks to turn a profit, but in all of these fields, a lot of that profit comes from downtrodden men who genuinely and misguidedly believe that throwing money at these women will somehow improve their lives. That delusion is their fault, of course, but the internet reacts very strongly, and rightfully so, when somebody comes along attempting to exploit that delusion for a quick buck. That's why the Thot audit went viral, and that's why the extremely transparent Ellie received such a negative backlash. But that didn't stop the cucklords in the gaming and culture war press from activating the spin cycle. On the Mary Sue, Jesus Christ people, aren't you as exhausted by this as I am? At the end of December, Ellie was announced as a new member of Second Wind, a team in Overwatch's official Contenders minor league. And lo, the toxic internet folks with far too much sexism on their hands kicked into immediate gear. But the problem wasn't sexism. It's that Ellie was getting signed to a pro team, a prestigious position with opportunity, even though nobody had verified her identity. If you actually look at the Overwatch League, every player signed to a team has their real name and information publicly available as part of the roster. Ellie, though, remained unconfirmed. Ask yourself if any of this would have happened if Ellie had emerged with the moniker Ellio. Ellie did her best to counter the people who devoted their limited life energy to questioning her existence, because something girls in video games. Surely this pro-lady gamer must actually be a man. It's not about her being a man. If an unknown anonymous male-sounding name appeared on the top 500, the same questions would be asked. Is this the alt account of a pro player? Is the person I'm facing off against actually this anonymous persona of Elio? Or is it somebody that I would otherwise know? A handful of other Overwatch pros even got involved, with Atlanta Reign player Daniel Drafan Francesca speculating during a stream that someone is playing on this account, and Ellie is talking right beside them.
Dude, what I think is happening right now is someone is playing on this account and Ellie is talking right beside him.
Listen, Dafran, why do you write his internet handle as if you're using it is somehow an insult? I know this might blow your mind, but not everyone has so much investment in the video game Overwatch that they're out to pull off a gender long con for reasons unknown. How exactly does this alleged hoax even benefit a fake Ellie? It's pretty obvious to me. Money, Twitch subs, stream donations, opportunities, attention, to drive home the idea that the man playing as a lady is in fact a lady, with all those rewards and accolades that come from being one in gaming circles. They draft a real female to serve as their voice? That seems like some spectacular coordination. That seems totally legit and plausible, and like a thing that people might do with their free time. Hey, Mary Sue, guess what? That's exactly what they did. Here's a clip from the stream of Aspen, a member of the esports team Cloud9. And guess what? A girl. And although she's not in the top 500, she's still a girl with about 1,500 more SR than me, so I have no problem considering her my better, regardless of gender.
Alright, there's so much talk around this Ellie person, right? Feel free to clip whatever I say, I seriously don't care. Ellie is not Ellie, okay? Ellie is not Ellie. The whole situation was meant to be, in a way, like a social experiment. Ellie is actually Punisher, and he told me yesterday. So, there you go. Hello, Reddit. Yeah, Ellie is Punisher. He did this for like a social experiment thing and did not expect it to get out of hand, so that's kind of the juice around that. That's all the juice.
So yeah, Ellie was fake all along. People suspected another pro player, Punisher, of being Ellie for a while now, popularized by this incredibly conspiratorial looking flowchart. It really does look like something you'd see pinned up in a manic detective's room surrounded by dozens of empty coffee cups. Consider this. The Overwatch League has one female player, Geguri. And not only is she just in the league, she is, in my opinion, the best fucking Zarya player in the world. Maybe even the best tank player in the world. And tank is a tough role to fill because you're not sitting in the back lines playing support. You're leading your team. You're directing the flow of engagements. It's probably the most demanding position in the game. Geguri gained international recognition, as well as her spot on the Shanghai Dragons, because 2 pro players accused her of hacking. Unlike Ellie, who crumpled into a ball on social media and had to be rescued by idiots like the Mary Sue, and even Kotaku's own Nathan Grayson in an equally vapid article, all before it came out that she was a fake, leaving her rescuers with egg on their faces, Geguri proved that it was truly her behind the keyboard, and the 2 pros who baselessly accused her left the professional scene entirely. The same thing happened back in 2015 in Hearthstone, where people suspected Magic Amy, a young, attractive, incredibly skilled player, to be a fake, based on a combination of stream strangeness and too good to be true hunches. And, like a clockwork, the progressive game journals came out with little proof but lots of rhetoric in her defense. Magic Amy, like Ellie, got offered a pro team spot. Magic Amy, like Ellie, ended up being a fake operation run by a male player and a female front in order to garner reputation, money, and pro opportunities. And just like in Overwatch, this blind ideological defense of women in gaming wasn't even needed. At the time, the best Hearthstone arena player in the entire world by win rate was HYUK, a Chinese woman. In order to compete in the top end of not just Overwatch, but any game, any field, any sport, any business, whatever, you're going to have to prove yourself under some stressful conditions at some point. This rule doesn't change just because you're a woman, and the irrational haters you're going to garner as a result of your success aren't suddenly sexist because you're a woman either. They're just jealous, like they are towards successful men. Overwatch and Hearthstone aren't physically demanding like sports are. There's no reason a woman can't be just as good as a man at these games. Geguri and HYUK, along with many other professional esports women out there, have already proven this. If there's less women in esports than men, that simply means there's less women trying to reach that apex level of skill out there. At least, trying as hard as their male counterparts. The SR ranking is not sexist. If a person deserves to be in the top 500, they'll be there, gender be damned. And every time an ideological male SJW fakes it and is inevitably caught, all they do is devalue the actual hard work that real women are doing to try and go pro. What's really interesting to me is the admission on Aspen's stream that the whole Ellie thing was a social experiment.
The whole situation was meant to be, in a way, like a social experiment. Yeah, Ellie is Punisher. He did this for like a social experiment thing and did not expect it to get out of hand.
That sounds an awful lot like those women who are caught making false rape accusations and offer up the defense of, I only wanted to start a dialogue, I only wanted to have a conversation, I only wanted to draw attention to the rape epidemic on campus. If you have to fake this sort of thing in order to get the conversation going, you're doing more harm than good. Because you're not allowing the problem you believe to exist rear its ugly head naturally in the wild. You're manufacturing it. You become the cause of the problem you want to solve. In believing that women can't make it without the male feminists' white knight attempts to draw attention to their plight, they have become the sexist they claim to hate.